Yes, we're right back. The front pages of the newspapers. We do have head strategy and public affairs analyst. Talking about head strategy for Nairametrics and public affairs analyst Uade Ahimie joins us live in the studio on a Thursday morning. Let's get the spirit moving. Let's keep going. And let's tell you that you can start calling, all right? So you find the phone number right there on the screen in a few seconds. There it is. So give us a call. Let's know what you think about the papers that we're about to bring to you. Now, don't forget that you can actually call in, turn on the volume of your TV set, make your comments 30 seconds less, and then we move. Binga.
Great. Okay. Well, Ade, great to have you here. We start off with the Punch newspaper. So many stories to choose from. Let's start with the pension battle. Police retirees reject federal government's healthcare offer. They're saying that's not what we want. Pay us, we'll sort our healthcare ourselves. Nigeria, US in advanced high-level talks over visa restrictions. Nigeria is holding its ground, saying no. We're not going to accept deportees as a ground. We will respect our sovereignty. Meanwhile, Rwanda has agreed to take dangerous criminals from the United States. And also, on the front page of the newspaper, the Punch newspaper, foreign investors sell off 576 billion Nigerian stocks in 6 months. Outflow soars 85% year-on-year. Economists cite Trump-era policies shift towards treasury bills. I don't know if this is good news or bad news, but it doesn't look so good. Sanwo-Olu pledges statewide infrastructure at Badagry Road unveiling. Okay, it's pledging it. Let's hope it fulfills it, and let's hope this statewide infrastructure will include street lights, because it's reached a critical point, and a state of emergency needs to be declared on the dark roads of Lagos. Receivership row. Egbe challenges FBN Quest in his Quest takeover move, and then we have this. Uade, I'm sure you saw this video making the rounds yesterday. Kwam pushes back as fan probes airport incident. And Tinubu consoles Ghana after helicopter crash kills 2 ministers and 6 others. Very sad news there. So, and also WAG on the fire as results portal goes down.
Anyway, let's start off with one. So, Uade, let's start off with I think the big one, the pension battle. Police retirees reject federal government's healthcare offer. What's your take on that?
So, what does the Pension Act say? You know, so why are you offering them free healthcare when they are retired? That's one. In my own opinion, pay them. It's a contributory pension, and if they've contributed to it, so the Pension Act says. The employee will contribute 8% and the employer will contribute 10%. So my question continually remains, is it that the federal government hasn't been contributing that 10% since when the Pension Act came out in 2004? And then it was revised, I think, in 2014. That's where it moved from 5 to 8% for employee and then 8 to 10% for employer. It just beats me every time that our retirees, you know, now that you have contributed pension, you can't get your pension. When you didn't have contributed pension, you were not being paid your pensions regularly. These are people who have served the nations for years and provided services for this country towards getting us, whether it's economic stability or political stability and so on. And then at the end of the day, you retire. You don't get what is, you know, justly yours. Meanwhile, elected officials pass acts and receive hundreds of millions for just, well, I don't know whether they serve Nigerians or being elected to serve Nigerians for 8 years. And we can't pay those who served Nigeria for 30 years and above. So it just beats me. So healthcare for what?
So some other offers with regards to this pensions. Mr. President has ordered PENCOM and PTAD to implement 20% pension increase and has asked PENCOM to resolve
how
the
do you-
long-standing
So,
pension.
Benga, sorry to interject you,
Yeah.
but how do you do that when there is an act of parliament that provides the
Exactly.
Pension Act?
The
So,
cover.
yes, I know he has right for executive orders, but when you say 20% increase,
From where?
how? From who? Is it from the federal government? Or are you saying that this 20% increase?
They're saying that one of the things they're saying is that it ought to have been implemented since.
How?
Since.
How?
Especially, many have said, especially during the Buhari administration.
How? There is a pension act that provides for contributory pension schemes. And I just said what it is. Yes, the government has a right, or the individual has a right to contribute more. But then you would, what's it called? You would now agree that with your PENCON company. However, if you say 20% increase, is it 20% of the 10% contribution, which makes it about 2%, so it moves it from 10 to 12%? Or is it 20% additional to the 10% that the government is supposed to? So the government must contribute 30%. Government is not able to contribute its 10% regularly.
How much more?
How much more now you say it's 30%?
Increase,
And then what law is going to back that? It's not just by coming out and saying that, oh, it should have been implemented. We need to amend the Pension Act 2014 that was amended from the 2003, or the 2003 Pension Act that provided for contributory pension. So let's stop playing to the gallery. This is my opinion. Let's stop playing to the gallery and let's treat Nigerians who have served Nigeria properly. It's not only about those who are working today. It's all, even those who are working today, you can't even pay them their salaries on a regular basis. So really, it just beats me.
Let's look at another story. This time, let's leave the shores of Nigeria and go to Ghana. I'm sure you're aware of the sad
Yes.
tragedy.
Yes, I am.
Very sad. 8 persons, and of course the 2 ministers killed in a helicopter crash.
First and foremost, my condolences to the families of those who lost their lives. The truth is, accidents do happen until we hear from the inquiry, which I hope is as quickly as possible when they get all the data equipment from the crashed helicopter. Then we know exactly what happened and what transpired. But something tells me that this will come out as quickly as possible. It might not be as, as you usually have in Nigeria, although these days it's a bit faster, especially with helicopter crashes, because you know the exact space, and getting those through that wreckage is not, getting through that wreckage is not as challenging as airplanes. But really, it's a sad one, and I commend the president for reaching out to the Ghanaian government, with his condolences on that. But really, accidents do happen, and unfortunately happen, and it killed two ministers and 6 others.
Very sad. Very sad. Anyway, let's quickly just pause on the papers a bit and connect with our man, Dapo Adeboye, who joins us very quickly. Today happens to be the fallout of the Lagos LGA election, and it starts at 11 a.m. Just in case you do not know, News Central is holding this town hall, especially with constituents, not forgetting to also holding it with political party members, key members, at the fallout of the recently held LGA elections. So there seems to be a lot to be talked about, but Dapo is back again to give us an update. Dapo, how's it going? Can you give us an update on especially those who have arrived and what the process will look like?
So much, Joe. Just like I said earlier, this, of course, is the inside Lagos politics, the fallout of the Lagos local government area elections that held recently. And we're live at the venue. It's, of course, meant to kick off by 11 a.m. But surprisingly, we've started seeing some of the participants walk in. We have a representative already from the AAC. She'll be joining me, in the course of this conversation. But just to give you a bit of a recap of what we expect from today. we're expecting to see party representatives, the candidates themselves, chairmen of political parties. We also expect to see representatives from the umpire, that's LASEC, and also representatives from observer groups and also the security agents. There are concerns as a result of the fallout of this election. Part of the concerns, particularly from the opposition, has to do with the process not being free and fair. Some have called it, maybe in their words, brazen failure. So these are the issues we want to bring to the fore, hear it firsthand from the participants, and of course give our viewers, a first-hand information as to what went down. So let me invite Olaide. She's a member of the AAC to come speak on this. She is actually around at the moment. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for having me here.
All right. Good morning.
Good morning.
What do you expect from today's meeting?
Okay, from today's meeting, a lot will need to be said. A lot as regarding the last election that was held, the Lagos State election. So we're going to deliberate a lot. And also, we are also going to look out for the resolution of the whole thing, because we realize that the election didn't really go away the way it was expected, even though they've always conducted unfair election in Lagos State. But it's time that we need to start ensuring that Lagosians need to make sure they must get things right. So for today, we will ensure we open up everything that transpired during the course of the election.
Even before we get into the crux of, today, for you personally, a party member, you said this is not...
I'm a candidate.
You're also a candidate.
Yes.
Great. So for you, how would you describe your experience personally?
Oh, wow. It wasn't easy at all. During the course of the election, it wasn't easy. A lot really went on, even though I realized that Lagosians aren't ready. And also, the INEC and also LASEC as a whole, they were not, the publicity was not enough. Because I could remember while I was going out for out-to-house campaign, a lot of people weren't aware of the forthcoming election. I had to be the one informing them that there is an election coming forth. So many things that wasn't in the right way that we think that LASEC and INEC needs to improve on in course of election.
Would you say it was fair and fair?
It wasn't fair. It wasn't fair. Because a lot, we saw a lot. So it wasn't fair at all. I need to be sincere.
All right, thank you so much. All right, this, of course, is part of what will be discussed today. And just like you heard, she's a member of the AC and also a candidate, one of the participants. We're expecting representation from across all the political parties. So, 11 a.m., we are live.
All right, 11 a.m. it is. Thank you so much, Dapo, and we'll look forward to join you. And you can also stay here with us on News Central to catch a glimpse and every single thing that's going to go down today right there at the all-important News Central Town Hall series. Thanks, Dapo, for joining us. Let's quickly go back to the front pages of the papers. The Vanguard newspaper is where we're going to. It has a very, very interesting header right there. 2027, Jonathan ready to run again. Close ally confirms. 2027, options before the North. And there you have their pictures. To the left, the current president. To the next former president. The next one, his former vice president. Next, former governor, 2023 presidential candidate. And then far right, who else do you have? A former governor and minister as well. What's your take on this? President Goodluck coming back, is it a right step in the right direction?
Every Nigerian citizen has the right to
I mean, politically, especially for...
Well, I don't know about politically, but as a person and as a former president who did one term, he has the right to run again. And if he wins the election, what it then means that he can only be president for just one term.
Yeah.
And you remember we were looking at the dynamics. I think it was a few weeks ago when we were talking about the North trying to play this strategy of saying, oh, he has to go back to the North after 8 years of the South, which, in my own opinion, is the way politics is being played in Nigeria. So I guess they're looking at the situation that, okay, who do we back? If we back a Jonathan and he can win the elections, what it then means is he can only do one term. Do we want to take a gamble with the last Labour Party presidential candidate who people has been in the news that he says he will only run for one term? Or do we want to take a gamble with the former minister and former governor, of Rivers State, who, if he does win, hasn't said anything about one term, but can also have the opportunity to run for a second term? The same thing with the Labour Party presidential candidate in 2023. So these are the intricacies that are playing out at the back. So the North, like they always say, like I said, that you need 2 blocks, North, Southwest, or North, Southeast, just one way or the other. But if you block it into the 6 regions, then you need about maybe 4 regions, geopolitical reasons to give you victory. So these are the politics that are going to play out over the coming months and year, so that at the end of the day, we believe that whether it's the coalition or it's the PDP, to bring out a formidable candidate to try and unseat the current administration is becoming very vital, and that's why they are touting former President Jonathan, because everybody seems to be looking back and say, oh, the Jonathan years were better than the last 10 years.
Nostalgia. Now, looking at this, can we have the front page of the Vanguard back up? Yes, looking at the pictures of the political gladiators, and I believe we will have more people might throw their hats into the ring to indicate interest. But for now, these are the names they're speculating. And one of the headlines says, Jonathan ready to run again, close ally confirms. I mean, we can't go with newspaper speculation until he comes outside and speak by himself. But just looking at that picture, there's one face there that seems out of place. I'm talking about the former Vice President Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, who happens to be from the north, and in our unwritten rule, gentlemanly agreement, power should rotate 8 years between the south and the north. President Tinubu is in his first term, so therefore Alhaji Atiku Abubakar should not really be contesting. But he's no respecter of any gentlemanly agreement. He doesn't believe in it, because even after 8 years of a Buhari presidency, he still contested and he lost. And he seems to be interested in contesting in 2027. So if he does contest, will that not work to the advantage of the APC? Because the opposition votes will be divided, and he might be playing the role of a spoiler. What's your take on his candidacy? And some have also said it's about time he takes the role of an elder statesman.
Okay, so let me start by saying this. And I said that when Joe asked me about former President Goodluck Jonathan. Every Nigerian who is eligible to contest has the right to contest to become president or be an elected official in Nigeria. So if former Vice President Atiku Abubakar believes that he can do that again, then he's free to do that. Now, in the dynamics of what you're talking about, yes, it could be a spoiler. We saw what happened with the PDP that split up in 2023 in comparison to when the PDP split up in 2014 and created the APC. You saw that block of PDP elected officials who moved to the APC, and we saw the effect to that in the Buhari election of becoming president in 2015. So once you consider that, yes, and if you consider the fact that if the North wants to make a case for presidency, in my own opinion, going back to the North in 2031, then they must let this act play out. Let 2 southern candidates contest. And if the incumbent wins, then you know that you've done your 8 years. However, if someone else comes in, like I said, Jonathan will be a good
balance because it's done
balancing,
4 years.
balancing act or equation. Why? Because he's done 4 years, and if he does win, then he will do another 4 years, and then we would just need to now pick the vice president who is going to work with him, and probably then that one will decide that he's going to run for the presidency in 2031.
Interesting.
So that's it.
Let's look at another story very quickly.
I believe we have a call.
Yeah, we have a call.
Osas from Port Harcourt.
Osas, good morning.
Good morning, Joe. Good morning, Benga. A quick one. Can you hear
Mr.
me?
Osas, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Can you
Okay.
hear me?
Okay. Still on the Vanguard.
Can you
Yeah.
hear me?
Still on the phone. There's this one.
Can you hear me?
Oh, okay. Osas, good morning. We can hear you.
Okay, good. A quick one. I want to talk about Peter Obi and PDP wooing Peter Obi and President Goodluck Jonathan.
Yeah.
But my thing is this: the two of them accept the offer. So what they would do, what I would suggest, is let former President Goodluck Jonathan and Peter Obi go for what should I call it? They should go for a camp. Like, for example, going to Obudu Ranch, two of them, or going to, I can recommend Abakpa Nuke, that is a Nuke Lake Resort. They can go there for a camp, and two of them will now agree between each other. Like, okay, let me step down for you, or you step down for me. It will be a private meeting between two of them, since both of them are from the South. And I'm very sure if Peter Obi steps down for President Goodluck Jonathan, of course, President Goodluck Jonathan will make Peter Obi to head the economic thing. And if it goes the other way, of course, I know President Jonathan will play a prominent role in Peter Obi succeeding as a president. So if two of them should accept, the PDP should not say, okay, we are going for this, or they should go to primary. No. Let the two of them, maybe within Nigeria or outside Nigeria, let the two of them travel on their own and discuss within themselves, and one person will now say, I'm stepping down for the other. You should go that way. Then from Vice President Atiku, I think he's really missing it. The best time Atiku would have become president if he had worked for President Goodluck Jonathan in 2015. Automatically, he would have become the president that Goodluck Jonathan would have handed over to. But he's a spoiler. I will advise him now, he should choose one of the Southern candidates and work for that person if he actually wants to become. If he works for that person, he have a personal agreement with that person that in so you will only do one term, you will hand over to the North. He can use himself like, I'll be the one you will hand over to. Just what Buhari and Tinubu had. So
how would
that
we
is
be
mine.
then?
Very
Thank you.
Thank you very
interesting.
much, Osas.
I was really listening, and it was really
political permutation.
yes, and it was a brilliant permutation. Thank you there. It was really a brilliant permutation.
Yeah. But
On the premise that
on the premise
former
that-
President Goodluck Jonathan is even interested in coming back
On
to
that,
presidency.
well, like you said, until he speaks for himself, we don't know. These allies, well, let's see how it
And
goes.
then, seeing something on paper, the reality is different. It might
Yeah.
not be sellable. He's been there before, and then you just think, oh, because of nostalgia, things were better. It doesn't automatically mean
Doesn't work that way.
It doesn't work that way. And politics is stressful. I really feel he's a gentleman. I feel for him. I don't think he should throw his heart into
That's you. But
the murky
he might have in his heart the belief that he can still do something good for
might do
Nigeria.
Donald Trump.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
make a return. After all, that's what they're going to use. That if Donald Trump could make a comeback, well, who says he can't?
But why are you people not talking about Rotimi Amechi?
Rotimi
Is it
Amechi.
that it doesn't stand the chance?
Benga, let's move on.
Or it has two chances?
Benga, you were saying
move on.
something
Let's
else
move on.
about
Two chances.
You were saying something else
Slim
about
and
the
no.
Benga. You were saying something else about the
Benga,
Vanguard.
let's move on.
Joe, can we go to the next one?
Yes.
Federal government approves tax incentives for manufacturers using local raw materials.
So are there people that have local options but decide to import in the first place?
Okay, so there are two things. One, yes, there are local raw materials. However, do you have the quantity that would satisfy?
Supply.
Yeah, the supply quantity that would satisfy the industry. I know that I can't remember what
Like
on the top
Dangote
of
and
my head.
crude.
No. Let's even leave Dangote and crude. I'm talking about full-time production now,
Manufacturing,
manufacturing goods, not petrol. Let's leave oil and gas. Price has gone up anyway to 9.15 as at this morning.
Why? But NNPC said they've reduced the
But
price.
I saw that's an NPC. But I saw the stations this
is there
morning.
another one in the
Anyway,
Middle East?
let's come back to what we're saying. So yes, so if you can prove, that's the other thing. Now, if you can prove that you don't import raw materials for production, then yes, the incentives are fine. Now, but the other question is, even when I give that incentive, do you have the quantum of supply that would help that industry? What's it called? And so when you now have a mixture of both, local and foreign raw materials, how do you ascertain the product? Well, you can ascertain that in terms of the cost of what goes into it. So you can, that means that organizations now have to break down in their financials what is local raw material usage and what is foreign raw material usage so that you can get those incentives. How trustworthy are Nigerian organizations to do that? That's a different play entirely. That's one. Then the second one is, even for those who use foreign raw materials and then now come and circumvent the system and provide documentation in terms of these are local raw materials that are used, how do you mitigate that? Do they have the manpower and the technical ability to assess all these things? Because it's not just looking at the financials and saying, oh, local raw material is 10 naira, foreign raw material is 4 naira. How do you verify those things? Is SON going to be part of this move to be sure that those things are locally produced and are certified to the standard that is required? So there's a lot of intricacies inside. So
I can
like I
imagine.
said, all these things of just throwing out these things on policy issues is still, before you come out with a policy statement, then you must be sure that a number of things have been looked at. And when they're asking those questions, when the policy comes out, then you know that all those things have been dealt with to a large extent.
Benga, you want to go? There's a
Yeah,
big story
still
on
on
the
the front
Independent.
page
But go
of
on.
the Vanguard newspaper. And we often see this when the results are out and people are not happy with the result. West African Senior School Leaving Certificate Exam, WASC. Parents group wants papers cancelled. We did see that only 30% of, there was only a 30% pass mark, mathematics and English. And that's the basic requirement to seek admission into most tertiary institutions. And that's the baseline, that's the benchmark. What's really going on? Now the parents are saying, look, they don't trust the CBT system. There's either a glitch here that no, this is mass failure. We understand the capacity of our words. This paper should be cancelled. And in the wake of checking the results too, YX portal has gone down.
So first and foremost, you know, when as white portal goes down, then you start to tend to say, okay, maybe the parents there is some truth in what the parents are saying. But generally, because I also wrote WAEC in this country, maths and English
It's tough.
is always tough.
It's tough.
Me, I think maths is tougher than English.
No, I don't know how to
that's
speak.
why I studied
I don't know how to
maths.
speak English because I got a C in English. But in maths, maybe that's why I followed my path. But that's it has always been like that. Maths and English. So what then happens is that science oriented students pass maths more, and arts oriented students pass the English more. And then you know, all that, that kind of thing.
Fine balance.
Yeah, but there's always that. But I read somewhere and I heard somewhere that this has been the worst WAEC result in 10 years.
Yeah.
Now,
Even the last jam was the worst.
Worse.
So
back to back.
so there
What's going on?
are two things. One, there's a new system. Or JAMB has been there, but WAEC there's a new system. Something tells me that one, there's not enough tutelage and education on how to do the CBT exams.
The transition.
Yeah, that transitioning. I don't know how many schools in Nigeria have those capacity to train their children for their mock exams. That's where it must start from. Once you get into SS2 from your third year, in third time in SS2, you should start to develop those students in that direction. So they get used to that, they get familiar with how to work with those things, and then the way you answer the questions. And that's why we continually say that educational system and tutelage continues to shift. It continues to shift.
And
we also need to follow in that direction.
Like we've said here many times, if we're still using the old model of education in 2025, it's a cause for worry. But let's go to Daily Independence. There's a story I want us to talk about quickly because we're almost running out of time. We have 3 more minutes before we also pay a special information to the governor of Lagos State. There you have it at the bottom. 712 billion naira airport renovation. Peter Obi questions whereabouts of $500 million loan for airports upgrade.
Which airport?
The same airports that is about to gulp 712 billion naira.
Which one of them? Lagos?
Lagos.
So what are they renovating? Are they renovating or they are rebuilding? Because the Lagos airport now, Muritala Mohammed Airport now has 2 different terminal buildings. There's the old one.
And then there's the new one.
And then there's the new one, which the Chinese put some loan structure together to build. The old one is beginning to not be used as frequently as it used to be, meaning that maybe that's the side they want to renovate. But like you said, I saw one of your morning, what's it called, banter, and we were talking about Ghana renovating the whole airport and so on, including runways. We've built a second runway in Lagos a few years back. We've renovated the original runway. Who has accounted for all these monies? And if you did take a loan, and I think the loan Peter Obi is talking about is the loan that has constructed the new terminal, the car parks and the new car park, which is closer to the airport these days than where you had to trek from there.
It's actually a loan the loan came in, just to reiterate again, the loan came in 2013. Nigeria got to
believe
that.
Yes, and that's what I'm saying. And that's when
President Buhari.
No, it wasn't President Buhari. It was President Jonathan. So there were a number of loans that we agreed with the Chinese. Are you with me? One was to build a new airport terminal, which President Buhari had commissioned just before he left, which is the new airport terminal in Lagos. And then also do some additional works.
Reworking, facelift.
Yes, facelift on the old one. Yeah, so if he's asking for that, my question would be, is he asking how that money was spent in building the new terminal, in building the new car park, in renovating the what's it called, runways, and building a second runway? I think they built a second runway in the Lagos airport. So those are the questions that we need to ask, and those are the answers that need to be provided, because not long after, there are a number of things. So even the rail lines, most of those contracts were put in place by President Jonathan. Do you understand? And more monies were brought in. Some of these projects were never completed. Some of them, so for the airports, it wasn't just Lagos. So there was Lagos, there was Port Harcourt, there was Abuja, there was Kano, that were going to get major upgrades. So I think if that's what the total $500 billion was for, then the question is, have they met the terms and conditions as agreed in those contracts? So maybe we need to go and look at those contracts again.
That's it. Well, that's all we're going to take for the front pages of the newspapers. Thank you so much, Uade Ahimie, for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
As usual, spot on analysis. And thank you so much, Asas, for calling. Unfortunately, we cannot take the other calls that are coming because of our time. But we started something here, especially from Monday, a plea to the governor of Lagos State, Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu. And we did see the great event that was held yesterday where you commissioned the new roads in Badagry and asked the people of Badagry to ensure that they maintain the road. But here's the footage that I picked up yesterday. From Monday, we've been calling on the governor to please help fix Lagos roads, because the roads are in deplorable condition. If you're driving along the Lekki-Ekpe Expressway, you have to be Spider-Man or Batman with your senses tingling as ever before, because you need to dodge the potholes. If not, you risk losing your tires and possibly drive home with just a rim, because the area boys will swamp around you and ensure that they milk you high and dry. But yesterday, this footage confirms that work has been ongoing. It shows that the governor is indeed listening to the voices of the people. So we want to follow up closely. Like we've said on Breakfast Central, when we put out a story and say we're going to follow, guess what? We will follow it to the end. So this is proof that work is ongoing. The portals are being covered. The next step is the lights. So the street lights, we would ask the governor, please don't stop while you're working on the portals. Please also help. It's a plea here on Breakfast Central. Help so that the street lights can come on. Let's light up Lagos. It's for our own safety. It's for our own good, so that we can drive safely and ensure that we do not spend money fixing our cars, at the same time also paying for what they call, what do they call that car? What you pay for when you drive your cars.
It's called like a road tax.
No, not
No,
road tax.
I can't remember the name. I know what you're talking about.
I got a bit, I was trying to remember that name. But anyway, there are lots
Roadworthiness.
Roadworthiness.
Yes.
Roadworthiness.
But we all pay for it, too.
We all pay for it. But,
but is the
the
road
question
worthy of
is
my
the
car?
road worthy?
Of your
Because you're
car?
paying for roadworthiness.
Maybe
In
I
other
should just add to what you said. Can we be sure that when they are doing some of this, maintenance work, is not when people are, it's not peak period of.
Exactly, that's another.
So I just want to beg you so that maybe you put that into it.
because it could lead to serious traffic disruptions.
So, I mean, we want to say well done to Lagos State. Please, we would still announce this tomorrow, and we will not stop until we ensure that the roads are done and then the lights are indeed working. It's for our own
all
safety
parts
to avoid
the
accidents,
city,
which have been happening regularly. And we can ask the governor and his team to check the data. They would find out that the road safety will show to them a plethora of accidents every night, every morning in Lagos, because everywhere is dark and the roads are bad. But thank you so much for listening, and thank you for starting the work in filling up the portals. That's how we wrap up the show for today. If you just tuned in, well, sorry, we'll have to leave. I'm Joe Hansen.
Nangbenga Borough, and hopefully we'll have Olive back tomorrow, so it'll be complete. Yeah.